Go into object mode, create a cube. And do this side. I'm going to scale and the z-axis. I'm gonna move in the z-axis. And scale in the y. And go to the front. Tab into edit mode. Move this down a little bit. This over. This over. Top. And so when you're working on complex objects, you just set these markers for where lines are at the start, and then you can start figuring out where you have to remove geometry. So I'll do the Control R for the edge loop tool, and I'll just create two, left click and then right click, and then I'll scale these in the y-axis to represent these lines right, these vertical lines right here, and then I'll do this line right here, and this line that's going across here, and then there's another line right here, so I could just Control R and then do the two again, left click, right click, scale in the Y. And from the top, I can already determine that I don't need the geometry here, so I went to face mode up in the upper left. I selected these faces. I'm pressing X to delete the faces and deleting these faces and deleting these faces. Before I proceed, I want to fix the shape. Like this is how my shape looks from the top, but I want to make sure I'm going to turn off X-ray and make sure that it's a proper shape for me to continue working. So I'll go to edge mode, select these two edges and use my bridge edge loops tool. And then if I already used the bridge edge loops tool, I can repeat the tool by using Shift R. And so that repeats the last thing you did. Select these two, Shift R, Shift R, and then I can select multiple and Shift R. And so now that is a solid piece for me to continue working. If I go back to the top, obviously there's more over here, but I'm going to go to maybe a different section just to see if I can figure out other shapes in different areas. So I'm going to go to, I'll just go to this side And I know if I control R and put that line to represent right here, I know that I can remove this geometry right here. So I'm going to X, delete the faces, and then I'm going to rotate around and just turn off X-ray and make sure that I can continue um, modeling this from it being a full manageable object with no holes. So because this has multiple edges and I can't just bridge edge loops, I'll go to the edge tool. I can select these edges, and something that I'm going to do is I can turn on the snapping tool, which I didn't teach you all in class, but I could turn on the snapping, which makes whatever you do adhere to certain components. I'm going to select that it's vertex snapping. And so a tool that you learned is the extrude tool. I can press E for the extrude tool, and then I want to extrude in this axis, so I could press X, and then I can extrude in this axis. And then since I have vertex snapping on, I can hover over a vertex, sorry. And so there's a vertex right here, and I can just snap it to that and left click. Now what you have to be aware of is because we extruded this, it's not connected. So if I were to move this up, we can see it's not connected together. So I'm going to Control Z, and something I'm going to do is select these vertices, and you can have a visualization of this. So if I go up here, um, oh, right here, I can't. So I went to the two interlocking circles, the show overlays, and then the statistics. If I look over here, it gives me information. It says that there, let's see if I do X-ray and do a box right here, it tells me that there are two vertices. So when I first selected it, because it wasn't in X-ray mode, I only selected one vertex. But with the X-ray mode on over here, it tells me that there are two. So I'm going to merge these. And so the shortcut for that is M, and I'm just going to merge them at the center. And then I want to select those. As you can see right here, it says there are two, and merge at the center, turn off X-ray. And now I can use my bridge edge tool again. I'm going to turn off snapping right now, just so nothing happens crazy. And so I can click, shift, 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 and bridge edge loops. So now I have my top shape and I have my front shape, and now I can look from this side. And so we have some more geometry we can get rid of, just so I can see this a little bit better. Okay. So if I go to face mode, I can already, well, I'm gonna keep this geometry just so when I insert an edge loop, it goes all the way around and it doesn't stop at a hole. So I'm gonna do my edge loops first. So just take into account what lines we're seeing. So Control R, I have a line right here. We already have a line right here. We already have a line right here. I can Control R, do a vertical and 2. I can actually do 4 just to save time. And right click. And so if I go to vertex, select these two. And scale SY. Scale those a little bit. And then select these SY. Scale those. Okay. And then I went to face mode and I can remove this geometry, X, delete faces. And then I can remove this geometry, X, delete faces. And then I can turn off and just make sure I close my holes. So if I go back to edge mode, I can bridge right here. Shift, 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 select, and Shift R. R. Shift R. If I wanted to make it easier, I can click on this and Shift R, but I need to take note that there's a edge right here. So I won't be able to just bridge edge loops because right now because there's only one edge at the bottom and then there's 2 edges at the top. So that doesn't match. 1 does not equal 2. So I need to make this 2. So I can Control R and I can just left click, right click and create that. And then if I look at the top, I can turn back on my snapping right here. And so the way snapping works, if you use the move tool, the manipulator, you start moving to the direction you want, but then you move up because I have vertex snapping on. So again, like I did before, I needed to hover over vertex. So I'm using the red arrow to move over to the right, but then I'm gonna hover over a vertex to get it to snap in line with the other edges. And now I could do my bridge edge loop. Um, bridge edge loops. Then I can do Shift R to repeat that. And so now if I turn back on X-ray mode, I can go to the front. If I'm just being a perfectionist, I can move that over a little bit. So the front looks good. If I go to the side, that looks good. And then if I go to the top, that silhouette looks good. And if I wanted to, I could tab back into object mode. If I kind of wanted to confirm to see if the shape was correct, I could go back to the keyhole assignment and just kind of try to match up and see what the 3/4 view of the object look like and see if that matches with what I have right now. Let me go back to the top right quick. So there's these extra sections right here. that I noticed in the keyhole. And so I will control Alt R, well, tab it back into edit mode, control R, and add this section right here. And so, oops, because of this divot right here, oops, sorry. Because of this, let me hide this. Because this goes like this, I know this section is not here from the top. So if I turn on my cube again and go to face mode, I know I could delete this and this face and then this and this face. Sorry, delete those faces. And so I just would have to confirm down here that let's see. Okay, it didn't. Let me select these again and delete those faces. Oops. I don't think that's good. Okay, I did too much. Oh, it deleted the bottom. That didn't make sense. Okay. So let me undo that. So I guess I just have to make sure if I look from the top so that I don't accidentally select the bottom, I'm going to turn off X-ray and I'll just select this and this and this. X, delete faces. And then I'll rotate out. And so since I know this is not supposed to be here, is a divot, I'm gonna delete these faces. And I have to figure out how I'm going to fix this. So the easiest way is click here. And then I'm going to do my extrude again. I still have my stamping on. So I'm going to extrude, use E for extrude. And then I want to extrude in the Y axis. And then I'm going to hover over my vertex and do that. And then I'm going to do that again over here. E, Y, and then hover over the vertex. And then I'm just going to make sure that those are merged. So let me turn back on X-ray. Box select, two vertices, M to merge at center. These, M, merge at center. And then I should be able to bridge edge loops for the rest of it. And then bridge edge loops over here. Shift R. And if I tab in object mode and then compare that, oops, to here, there's that section at the top, which is kind of far, so okay. There's this section at the top where I have to consider these lines as well. So the same thing I did before. Tab, I'm gonna make sure that X-ray is off. I'm gonna click this face and this face and delete the faces. And then Delete those faces. Delete those faces. And I'm going to do my extrusion again. So I think I should be able to do these at the same time. So edge mode, shift, select. I'm going to extrude in the x-axis and then hover over the vertex. Turn on X-ray. Go to vertex. Select that. There's two of them. Merge M at center. And for this one, merge at center. And then do bridge edge loops. Oops, Control Z. Shift R. Might have did something, so let me just do bridge edge loops. And let's see, 7. So 3. And 1. And then just double checking those columns. So I think I pretty much got the correct shape. And so that took a long time, but yeah, that is how I approached it.